Imagine this. You stand at the edge of a crumbling kingdom, the air thick with the scent of smoke and the echoes of betrayal. The once mighty castle before you, its towers piercing the sky like a crown of stone, now bears scars of neglect, its walls trembling under the weight of whispers and shadows. Inside, a ruler paces, his crown heavy, his eyes hollow, haunted by the ghosts of those he trusted most. You watch as courtiers clad in crimson velvet scatter like rats, their loyalty as fleeting as the summer breeze, their smiles once warm, now turned to sneers. The ruler's voice, once a thunder that commanded armies, is now a frail plea, drowned by the murmur of dissent. He tolerated their whispers, their absences, their honeyed words, and now his throne teeters on the brink of ruin. You feel the chill of a question creeping into your bones, sharp as a dagger's edge. What if the greatest threat to power isn't the enemy outside the gates, but the one you let sit at your table? This isn't a tale spun from fantasy. It's a lesson carved in the blood of fallen rulers, a warning whispered through the ages by Machiavelli, the man who saw the world not as it should be, but as it is. In The Prince, he wrote, "There are sins in the realm of power, not written in any holy book, but in the blood of fallen rulers." His words cut through the fog of idealism, revealing a brutal truth. Power isn't preserved by kindness or trust. It's preserved by vigilance, by seeing the rot beneath the surface before it festers. But here's the paradox that grips you like a vice. If power demands such clarity, why do you let these sins, these behaviors, slide in your own life? Why do you forgive the friend who vanishes when you need them most, the colleague who flatters only to betray, the partner who questions your worth in front of others, all while your own foundation cracks beneath you? Feel the weight of that question, don't you? The tension between what you've been taught to forgive, to trust, to turn the other cheek, and what you sense in your gut, that tolerance of certain acts isn't noble. It's a slow poison. You've seen it play out, haven't you? The boss who hesitates, losing the team's respect. The friend who praises you to your face, but deserts you in crisis. The rival who cloaks their ambition in moral outrage, eroding your standing with every righteous word. What if Machiavelli saw something you've been blind to? That these behaviors aren't mere flaws, but daggers aimed at the heart of your influence, your relationships, your very sense of self. What if the key to holding power, whether over a kingdom, a career, or your own life, lies not in building bridges, but in burning the ones that lead to betrayal? This isn't just about history. It's about you, about the invisible cracks forming in your world every time you let these behaviors pass unchecked. Machiavelli's warnings aren't for kings alone. They're for anyone who dares to lead, to rise, to carve their own path. The great question looms like a storm on the horizon. What are the behaviors that erode your power, and what might happen if you refuse to tolerate them? What unseen forces have been weakening your foundation, and what could you become if you face them head-on? The answers lie in the unyielding wisdom of Machiavelli. In the 7 unacceptable behaviors he warns us never to forgive. Step into this shadowed truth with me, because what you uncover will change how you navigate every betrayal, every challenge, every moment of your life, forever. You felt the sting, haven't you? The quiet betrayal of a friend who vanished when the storm hit. The hollow flattery of a colleague who turned on you the moment your star dimmed. the subtle defiance that left you questioning your own worth. Machiavelli's warning that certain behaviors erode power cuts deeper than a surface lesson. It reveals a hidden problem you've never fully faced. But why do you tolerate these acts? Why do you let disloyalty, cowardice, flattery, and defiance slide, even as they chip away at your foundation? To understand, you must dig into the psychological and philosophical roots where human nature, societal conditioning, and existential fears intertwine, shaping your every choice. Machiavelli saw the raw pulse of humanity with brutal clarity. He wrote, "A man's true nature is not revealed in prosperity, but in adversity." This isn't mere observation. It's a scalpel slicing through the illusions you've been fed. People aren't noble by default. They're driven by self-interest, fear, and survival. Studies echo this. 70% of people prioritize personal gain over loyalty when stakes rise, a trait rooted in evolutionary psychology. You've seen it, haven't you? The way alliances dissolve when crisis looms. The way smiles turn to silence when you need support most. Your instinct to forgive, to tolerate, plays into this. It makes you a safe harbor for their opportunism, a target for their betrayal. You're not preserving peace, you're inviting ruin. This runs deeper than behavior. It's etched into your psyche. Carl Jung's concept of the shadow explains why you let these behaviors fester. You suppress your own capacity for ruthlessness, for confrontation, because you've been taught it's wrong. Jung argued that denying your shadow, your darker impulses, creates imbalance, leaving you unable to assert boundaries. Research shows 65% of people who avoid conflict report higher stress and resentment, as they internalize betrayal rather than confront it. You do this, don't you? You swallow the sting of disloyalty, excuse cowardice as caution, mistake flattery for friendship, because you fear being seen as harsh, as unyielding. But what if tolerance isn't virtue? It's fear in disguise. Fear of standing alone. Fear of wielding the power you're meant to claim. Philosophically, this echoes Friedrich Nietzsche's critique of slave morality. You've been molded to value forgiveness, kindness, and patience, virtues that soothe the herd but bind you to weakness, while the cunning exploit your restraint. Nietzsche saw these as chains. Machiavelli saw them as death sentences. Power rests not only in action, but in perception, he wrote. If you're perceived as weak because you tolerate disloyalty, cowardice, or defiance, you invite rebellion, not order. Studies back this. 60% of leaders lose influence when seen as overly lenient, as followers test boundaries unchecked. You felt this, haven't you? The way your silence emboldens others, the way your forgiveness breeds resentment rather than gratitude. You've been sold mercy as strength, but what if it's a trap keeping you from true power? Jean-Paul Sartre's bad faith tightens the knot. You tolerate these behaviors because you deny your freedom to act, to confront, to cut ties, because that freedom feels like a cliff's edge. Society tells you to be understanding, to give second chances. But what if that's a story to keep you powerless? Sartre saw self-deception in fleeing that freedom. Machiavelli saw survival in embracing it. You're not helpless, you're just afraid to wield the blade of discernment. You've been taught to build bridges, but what if some bridges lead only to betrayal? What if true power lies in burning them down? This is about you. Every time you tolerate these behaviors, you diminish yourself. Your trust erodes, your authority wanes, your life mirrors their opportunism, not your strength. The powerful thrive by rooting out these threats. You struggle because you don't. But what happens when you keep turning a blind eye? What price do you pay for this blindness? And what does it reveal about the world you navigate? The next layer waits, heavy with the cost of your tolerance. You've let it slide, haven't you? The friend who vanished in your hour of need. The colleague whose flattery masked ambition. The defiance you ignored to keep the peace. Machiavelli's warning that behaviors like disloyalty, cowardice, and ingratitude threaten power reveals a truth you can't ignore. But this isn't just a choice. It's a slow poison seeping into your life, your relationships, your very sense of self, reshaping your reality in ways you never noticed. The unseen consequences of tolerance don't roar, they whisper, leaving you exposed, diminished, and trapped in a world where others hold the reins. Soon, you'll see why this indulgence is a trap you can't afford to stay in. Vulnerability is the first wound. By tolerating these behaviors, you become a target for opportunism. Research shows 75% of people exploit perceived weakness, especially in high-stakes situations, a trait rooted in self-preservation. You've felt this, haven't you? The way a friend's absence in crisis emboldens others to test you. The way a flatterer's words blind you to their betrayal. The way defiance sparks whispers of doubt. Machiavelli wrote, "Disloyalty in times of crisis is a threat to the very structure of power." Your forgiveness doesn't earn loyalty. It signals weakness, inviting more betrayal. You're not just exposed. You're a pawn in a game you refuse to play. This isn't isolated. It's systemic. Machiavelli's lens illuminates societies that reward opportunism over honor. Studies reveal 60% of workplace betrayals stem from unchecked disloyalty, as colleagues exploit leniency to climb. You've seen this, haven't you? The way a hesitant leader loses respect, the way moral outrage masks ambition, the way ingratitude breeds resentment. By tolerating these acts, you're not noble. You're complicit, swayed by players who thrive on your restraint. It's not just relationships fraying, it's your agency, your ability to shape your own path, slipping away as others rewrite your story. The psychological toll cuts deeper. Jung's shadow looms here. By suppressing your capacity to confront, you breed inner conflict. Data shows 70% of those who avoid conflict report higher anxiety as they internalize betrayal rather than address it. You know this ache, don't you? The resentment of being abandoned, the shame of being undermined, the guilt of wanting to strike back but not knowing how. Tolerating these behaviors doesn't make you virtuous. It makes you a vessel for their poison, trapped by a morality that's more cage than shield. You're not just losing trust, you're losing yourself. The deepest consequence is existential. Viktor Frankl taught that meaning comes from purpose, not external validation. But when you tolerate disloyalty, cowardice, and defiance, when others exploit your mercy, you lose sight of that purpose. You become a puppet, reacting to their betrayals instead of forging your own path. Machiavelli thrived by facing reality head-on. In 1513, exiled, he wrote The Prince, seizing agency from chaos. You've felt this void, haven't you? The hollow echo of a life shaped by others' opportunism. The despair of knowing you could be more, if you'd only stop forgiving the unforgivable. This is about you. Each time you tolerate these behaviors, you chip away at yourself. Your power fades, your meaning splinters, Your life mirrors their betrayal, not your will. They thrive because they exploit your mercy. You falter because you allow it. But there's a way out, a path to reclaim your strength without losing your soul. What if you could face these behaviors head on, not with vengeance, but with clarity, and rise above their poison? Rebellion beckons, a shift that could rewrite it all. Let's uncover how to break free. You're done being a target, aren't you? Sick of the way disloyalty erodes your trust, cowardice undermines your leadership, flattery blinds your judgment, and defiance shatters your authority. Machiavelli's warning that these behaviors threaten power has shown you the cracks in your foundation. But now, a fire ignites within you, a refusal to let these sins define your world any longer. This is your rebellion, your chance to break free from the trap of tolerance and reclaim your power, your clarity, your path. In a moment, you'll discover the strategies to confront these behaviors head-on, to turn the tide and become untouchable in a world that preys on the forgiving. First, face betrayal with unyielding clarity. Machiavelli wrote, "The crisis does not create traitors, it exposes them." Stop excusing disloyalty as a lapse. See it as a declaration. Research shows 70% of betrayals repeat when unaddressed, as tolerance emboldens opportunism. When someone abandons you in crisis, don't forgive, confront. Cut them from your circle, not with rage, but with precision. In 1498, Machiavelli watched Savonarola fall for ignoring disloyalty. Don't be him. Be the one who values conviction over numbers, who builds a core of allies who stand firm in the storm. You're not here to please, you're here to protect. Next, wield resolve against cowardice. Cowardice in leadership invites disorder. If you lead, whether a team, a family, or your own life, act decisively, even when fear whispers caution. Studies show decisive leaders retain 80% more loyalty than those who waver, as clarity breeds trust. Don't hide behind consensus or delay for certainty. Strike when the moment demands. In your choices, your boundaries, your vision, be the rock others lean on, not the sand that shifts. You're not here to beg, you're here to command. Third, pierce the veil of flattery. Flattery masquerading as loyalty blinds the ruler, Machiavelli cautioned. Demand truth, not praise. Research reveals 65% of leaders fail when surrounded by yes-men, as they miss critical warnings. Seek allies who challenge, who warn, who speak the uncomfortable. If someone only praises, test them, ask for hard truths, watch their response. If they falter, distance them. You're not here for comfort, you're here for clarity. Fourth, crush public defiance with force. Authority, once questioned in the open, is never fully rest. When defiance surfaces, whether a colleague's mockery or a partner's public scorn, respond swiftly, not to silence dissent, but to protect perception. Studies show 60% of authority erodes when defiance goes unchecked, as others take it as permission to rebel. In 1527, Machiavelli's strategies held Florence by quelling dissent early. You must too act decisively, publicly, to show your power isn't negotiable. You're not here to debate, you're here to rule. Fifth, punish ingratitude without mercy. Ingratitude for past favors declares your generosity meaningless, he warned. When someone forgets your favor, cut them off. Data shows 50% of betrayed benefactors face repeat offenses if they forgive. Don't let their apologies sway you. They're opportunists, not allies. Be strategic with your generosity. Elevate only the honorable. You're not here to nurture traitors. You're here to build loyalty. Sixth, bind ambition to allegiance. Ambition without allegiance is poison. Machiavelli noted, identify the ambitious. Those who work hard but commit to no cause, and tie their rise to your own. Studies show 70% of unaligned, ambitious individuals betray when power shifts. Reward them, but keep them close. Their success tethered to yours. If they resist, limit their growth. You're not here to breed rivals. You're here to secure allies. Last, disarm moral outrage with discernment. Moral outrage as a weapon seeks advantage, not justice, he cautioned. When someone uses virtue to undermine you, see through their performance. Research shows 55% of moral attacks mask ambition, exploiting public perception. Don't defend, counter. Expose their hypocrisy, shift the narrative, and never let morality leash your power. You're not here to justify. You're here to lead. This rebellion isn't soft. Guilt will claw. Fear will hiss. Old habits will call. But each step, each traitor you excise, each defiance you crush, builds a life where you hold the reins. You're not just breaking free from their game. You're rewriting the rules. And as you do, a truth dawns. One that flips it all. What's the one force that shields true power? Let's unveil the final revelation. You've faced the storm, haven't you? Machiavelli's warning, the 7 behaviors that erode power, has stripped away the illusions you've clung to. You've seen how disloyalty, cowardice, flattery, defiance, ingratitude, unchecked ambition, and moral outrage have weakened your foundation. You've felt their toll in your vulnerability, your fractured trust, your lost purpose, and you've rebelled, confronting each with clarity, resolve, and discernment. But now, standing on the edge of true power, you sense a deeper truth, one that binds it all together, that redefines not just how to protect your authority, but why you've struggled to hold it. Machiavelli didn't just list sins. He revealed a universal law. True power isn't in controlling others, it's in controlling perception, starting with your own. Here's the ultimate truth. The greatest shield of power is the perception of unyielding strength, not the reality of it. Machiavelli's strategies, confronting disloyalty, crushing defiance, discerning flattery, work because they craft an image of invincibility, a perception that others dare not test. Studies show 85% of influence hinges on how you're seen, not what you do. People obey the leader they fear to cross, not the one they love or even respect. You've been chasing power through action, through trust, through forgiveness. But what if power isn't earned? It's projected. What if the most unshakable rulers don't win by being strong, but by being seen as unbreakable? This flips everything. Nietzsche's Übermensch isn't a tyrant. He's a master of perception, shaping how the world sees him by mastering himself. Machiavelli lived this. In 1513, exiled and powerless, he wrote The Prince, not to regain favor, but to project a mind so sharp, so unyielding, that history couldn't ignore him. You feel this pull, don't you? How you've weakened yourself by tolerating betrayal, by letting others define your worth through their actions. But when you project unyielding strength, when you confront disloyalty with severance, cowardice with resolve, flattery with truth, defiance with force, you become untouchable. They don't challenge you because they fear you. They fear you because they believe you cannot be challenged. Viktor Frankl's wisdom deepens this. In the Holocaust, he found meaning not in controlling others, but in controlling his perception of himself. Everything can be taken from a man, but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude, he wrote. You've been taught power is external, over people, over outcomes, but what if it's internal? Data shows the self-assured, those who project strength, not weakness, dodge betrayal 60% more, as opportunists hesitate to test them. When you stop tolerating these behaviors, when you project a perception of unyielding clarity, you become a force others can't manipulate, can't sway, can't break. They don't challenge your actions. They fear your image, the unshakable aura you've crafted. This is a paradigm shift. Jung's individuation means becoming whole by embracing this truth. You are not defined by their betrayals, but by the perception you project. Sartre's freedom bids you choose this image, even if it means standing alone. The powerful fear one thing, a soul who crafts a perception so unassailable it can't be touched. In 1527, Machiavelli's strategies held Florence, not by force, but by projecting an image of inevitability. That fires in you, dimmed by tolerance, but alive. Picture it now. You stand unshaken, not because you control them, but because they believe you cannot be control. Their disloyalty withers before your severance. Their flattery falters before your truth. Their defiance crumbles before your resolve. They don't challenge you, not because you're kind, not because you're cruel, but because your image is a fortress, a perception of unyielding strength they can't breach. Power isn't held, it's seen, like a storm on the horizon, a force so undeniable, others bow before it strikes. So what will you choose? Keep tolerating their sins, or project the strength that makes them irrelevant? The choice is yours, and in that choice, you find the truth that sets you free. You've always been the storm. You stand as a fortress now, don't you? Machiavelli's warning, the 7 behaviors that erode power, has peeled back the illusions of tolerance. Jung's shadow revealed your hidden strength. Nietzsche's vision urged you to rise. Frankel's meaning set you free from their betrayal. The lesson burns clear, fierce, and unshakable. True power isn't in controlling others. It's in projecting a perception of unyielding strength. This is the story's heart. You're no pawn in their game, but the force they fear to cross. Stop tolerating disloyalty, cowardice, flattery, defiance, ingratitude, ambition without allegiance, and moral outrage. Confront each with clarity. Sever betrayers, wield resolve, demand truth, crush defiance, punish ingratitude, bind ambition, discern manipulation. The unseen toll, vulnerability, lost trust, a fractured purpose, melts when you project this image. Each step, each boundary you set, each traitor you excise, builds a life where you command, not plead. You become their dread, a soul so unassailable, they dare not test you, a storm they cannot weather. Where have they weakened you? In your friendships, where disloyalty festers? In your work, where flattery blinds? In your life, where defiance erodes your worth? The world will keep rewarding betrayal. Step away, not defeated, but crowned, crafting a life that answers to your strength. Machiavelli's gift is this: project power, not weakness. In that choice, find the authority you've always deserved. Ready to be the storm? To project strength with every step, every silence? Write it. I am untouchable. The world bows when you do. If this truth ignited you, comment 1. If it missed, comment 0. Help me sharpen it. Tell me, what behavior will you confront? Share this with someone struggling to lead. They need this power. Subscribe. The next truth on mastering perception will redefine your life. Let's keep this storm raging.